All right, we're here as the Lost Rider podcast. Good morning and welcome to the second half of this week's News from the Camp House. Sitting here with Matt Rice. He is with an organization called American Rivers. Now, he is a Southwest District Director, very familiar with the other Colorado River that runs through the United States, starts in Colorado. He's been explaining a lot about the problems that they have on that river, and I was been trying to relate that to what we see on our Colorado River, where, municipalities take precedence and they're going to get most of your water, and pretty soon agriculture, wildlife, everything downriver suffers. And it's the American Rivers that come in and try to make deals, figure it out where everybody can benefit. Of course, if it don't rain, there's no water.
That's absolutely right. And we're increasingly seeing that more prolonged extreme drought. Everybody is suffering. And so, a lot of the things that we do, the projects and the partnerships we build are really intended to help people, communities, agriculture, fishing and hunting, do more with less water, essentially, right? I mean, we have to prepare ourselves for that future. We're seeing it more and more and more, especially in the last 30 years. And one of the things that we know, right? I mean, I think in Texas is a really good example, is that in November, 70% of Texans voted to prioritize their taxes to support water infrastructure, water. Right. And when was the last time you ever heard of 70% of anybody agreeing on anything, right?
Right.
So I think that what that shows is one, there's kind of a massive commitment to making sure that we have our house in order when it comes to water, so we can continue to grow food, so we can continue to fish and hunt on rivers. And now the key is going to be how do we implement those dollars, right? And how do we do the projects that we need to do so communities have water, so agriculture, so the lower Colorado River here, so agriculture continues to survive, so we still have wildlife, so we can still hunt and we can still fish on these rivers. And one of the things that we're really focused on is, I mentioned it in the previous section, it's like water's different than other issues. This is an issue that we can all come together around. And the projects that we implement and the money that is now available in Texas through the Proposition 4 vote, there are opportunities to advance multi-benefit projects that benefit agriculture, that benefit cities, that benefit rural communities. And those are the types of things that we're focused on.
All right. Okay. And we'll see how this is all something that's going to have to play out in the future, and we're going to watch this play out. But again, it has to rain.
It has to rain, exactly. And we have a saying I've heard, is that hope for rain or hope for snow in our case, right, is not a management strategy, right? I mean,
sitting around hoping for something. Yeah, it's not a management strategy. I get you there. That's a little quote that everybody can relate all over the place. Yeah, hoping for something isn't a strategy.
So and we see it. Rivers and water. It's an issue that is I would even describe kind of as post-political, right? I mean,
right.
Republicans and Democrats and independents alike, they all care deeply about healthy rivers. They all care deeply about clean water, right? And so there's an opportunity, I think, a political opportunity for people from all sectors and interests to kind of come together around securing a reliable, safe water future for the environment, for hunting, for fishing, for municipal water use, for agriculture. And the time is now. The river is not gonna wait for us.
Right, right. Okay, all right. I think everybody kind of gets a picture on that. Okay, now I got a question. I heard you in a conversation earlier, and I'm curious. I think this is a question that hopefully many of my listeners have always wondered about a little bit, because through since the turn of the 19th century, we saw so many dams going on, so many rivers, and now they're taking some of these dams out. And I heard you talking earlier about with some other folks about some of these dams being removed, and I don't always understand those issues. If they were put there in the first place to save water for municipalities, but now they're taking them out, and somehow or another, how do you benefit from all this from taking out a dam?
Yeah, so I mean, and that's something that American Rivers is known for nationally. It's obviously it's a hot topic, okay, right? Removing a dam infrastructure for whatever reason, and the only dams we work to remove are the ones where the owner of that dam wants to remove that dam. So oftentimes the way that plays out in different areas is we'll work with the dam owners and sometimes the dam safety agency in a state or in a county or in a community. When dams are built, they have a lifespan, okay, right? And it's, that lifespan, depending on the river and how much silt or sediment or mud or whatever is in the river, sometimes those dams exceed their life cycle, right? And they're not serving a purpose anymore, right? They're not necessarily storing water. They're not necessarily providing the flood protection benefits that they did before. And in some cases, and even in lots of cases, they're a risk to downstream communities and property.
Okay.
And so then that's when we'll come in and we'll work with the dam owner. We'll work with the dam safety agency. We'll connect all the dollars and leverage money to remove the dam, and that has that can have community benefits, community safety benefits. It can have habitat benefits. You remove a dam. I mean, there's some big examples in like the West Coast where dams have been in place on certain rivers that have blocked salmon migrations for more than 100 years. They're no longer viable. They're not producing enough hydropower to pay for the operations and maintenance, and the dam owners want them out. And so we come in and we help them. And then within a very short period of time, even a matter of months, we are seeing salmon return to their historic spawning grounds 100 years later. It's just, okay, it's remarkable. So I guess the point of all that is it's a tool, it's a conservation or restoration of rivers tool. And rivers are amazingly resilient if we put the effort and the time to, whether that's pollution and cleaning up a river from pollution, where it makes sense, removing a structure that blocks the river. Mm-hmm. Rivers recover really, really quickly. And that's those are the types of projects that we hope to work on.
All right, are these okay? Now the next logical question is, what happened to that need of water storage? I mean, if the dam was there for hydroelectric, and for some reason it no longer can do hydroelectric, but it is also there for storage, what happened to that need for storage?
Oh, and dams play a hugely important role, especially in places like Texas and other arid regions of the Southwest, in storing water. So when it does rain and snow, we can capture that water and we can use it when we need it, yeah, right? It's, I'm not talking about the big reservoirs oftentimes. I'm talking about kind of smaller projects that have kind of outlived their usefulness even for storing water. Okay. And I think one of the things, and I absolutely acknowledge this is a controversial topic, right? But the truth is also is that because you have a dam or you want to build another dam, it doesn't mean it's gonna snow or rain, mm-hmm, and it's like, what is the old saying? It's like rain chases the plow kind of thing.
Okay.
It doesn't always play out that way. But, again, dams are incredibly important infrastructure in the United States, and a large reason why we have been able to kind of develop like we have. But again, they all have a lifespan, and so we're here to help remove them when they are too dangerous,
Okay.
or they're no longer serving their purpose, and most importantly, when the owner of that dam is done and wants them out. So,
All right. Oh, well, that's a good answer. I mean, that was something I always wondered about. The owner. Okay, so if we're talking about owners, we're talking about like a state.
well, like, there are thousands and thousands of dams in Texas, that are owned by individual property owners.
Okay.
Sometimes dams are owned by power companies, right, to produce hydroelectric power.
Right.
Sometimes dams are owned by the federal government, whether that's the Army Corps of Engineers, or further west, whether that's the Bureau of Reclamation, an agency that was established to reclaim the water of the West and build dams. And we're not talking about removing those kinds of dams, right? We're not talking about removing dams that have a societal value. We're talking about removing dams that no longer make sense. And it also, I might get in trouble with my organization for saying this, but we can remove 3 or 4 dams that are no longer serving their purpose. They're old, they're dangerous, everything else. And maybe that presents an opportunity to build one in a more strategic location that serves a different purpose, right?
I didn't realize that was the case. And but the case you hear is, when a dam gets removed, and I guess it's listening to other organizations that are primarily only worried about salmon.
Yeah, and that's certainly not us.
Yeah.
We're an organization that is absolutely focused on the holistic value of rivers and water.
Mm-hmm.
Again, dam removal is a tool, but again, we work to ensure that agriculture has a future. I'm not leading those conversations, but we help create those incentives. We do that through projects in partnership with agricultural producers. And the bottom line is that, our tagline at American Rivers, life depends on rivers, right? Mm-hmm. Whether you eat food, whether you're a local community that has a river in your backyard that's important for, agricultural production or recreation, or, you run tubing trips, mm-hmm. Not to mention that all of us need to drink water, right? Yeah. So that requires us, as the leading national river conservation organization in the country, to make sure that we take a holistic approach to this, right? And then and we meet people where they're at, right? The work that I do in Colorado and Arizona is going to be very different than the work that we aim to do in Texas, right? Okay. But the one thing that is the kind of the common, the through line, right, is the river, right? People in Texas depend on their rivers as much as the people in Colorado or Arizona depend on their rivers.
Okay. All right, Matt, thanks for being with us this morning.
It was awesome. Thank you.
All right, folks, I hope you got something out of it this morning. Everybody's looking to water. We've heard some of our state reps and everybody say next session's coming up. They're going to be all about water. So, all right, hope everybody enjoyed it this morning. American Rivers, y'all remember that. We're going to see what happens. So now, go out. This weekend's edition was also brought to us by Shaw's Bend Social Club, country club for folks who don't have a country club. All right, now go out, have a big weekend, enjoy yourself, have fun, be safe. And y'all just remember, pretty much any day is sure a good day to be out in the woods.